Welcome to another edition of Touring the AFC South. I should say, welcome back. uh, Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. Of course, this month is Women's History Month, and I wanted to make sure to highlight Black women. I wanted to show love to Black women the entire month. So if you came in looking for this guest, that guest, or the other, I'm sorry. You didn't get that guest. But today we do have a guest from North Carolina.
Sure
Um,
is.
well, I did go to the Midwest and DC last week, I believe. So yeah, I did. So this week we're going to North Carolina. Of course, a few things happened down there this week. This past week, just something a little small event. But I wanted to bring on from Locked On ACC, Miss Candace Cooper. How you doing?
Mike, thanks so much for having me. I love your shirt. Praise Black women, of course, and just the idea of anybody wanting to celebrate us, because as much as people say we go too hard in the paint, it's because people don't go hard enough in the paint for us. So sometimes we have to do it ourselves. But I've never met, a Black woman that truly doesn't want another Black queen to win. I mean, there's a few. There's very, very small tribe, but everyone is just trying to get by here. So I really appreciate you having us in this platform and getting to tell our stories.
Of course, of course. So, of course, you did attend North Carolina.
I did graduate, because it gets confused sometimes. Some people be like, "Oh, you're a oh no, sir. I am a graduate." Okay, I worked hard for those 4 years.
Gotcha. Understood. Now, you did originally attend there as a swimmer. Plenty don't know that. Now, how did you get involved in swimming? I have to know.
Yeah, that's a great question. So growing up, my parents I went to a non-traditional elementary school. So I went to year-round school where it's like 9 weeks in, 2 weeks out. So 2 weeks out, you have different tracks. And I took breaks and went to the YMCA. And part of the YMCA, part of their playing and activities is swimming. And so you have different levels. So I started out as like red, yellow, and black. And black is where you get to be like the mermaid, go the deep end, slide, all that cool stuff. So I was a red swimmer, very terrible. I was awful. And, I saw my friends go to black end, and I was like, I just want to earn my black band. Like, I want to be able to like get out there and do my little thing. And so a little bit of self-taught, a little bit of like mini drowning at times and being like, okay, you're okay. You can go underwater, that kind of stuff. So I started there just doing it, basic level. Then ended up starting competing at 8 years old. And my family kind of met another Black family in our area, and they helped us grow in the sport and just figuring out what it was. Like, my parents were confused that people would swim outside when it was raining. They didn't understand that. My first race, they literally walked alongside the pool because they thought I was going to drown. I was deathly terrified of diving off the blocks. So when people look at, my accolades at the end, they definitely don't know those beginnings were super humble. But I swam from 8 until I graduated high school, then took my talents to UNC. I'm actually the first Black female to ever swim at that university. And so it's a big honor, just to be amongst many legends at North Carolina. But more importantly, I think it was a good start knowing and finding out. And now I just hopefully can keep that legacy rolling.
So I'm talking to history today.
It's fun because every time someone finds out that little nugget, it's like, like we're the same age. Like, it's history every single day. You never know kind of how you find out. And I was literally doing my senior thesis in college on the plight of the Black athlete. And I just happened to ask the former coach, hey, like, how many Black swimmers has there been? Because I wanted to like touch on some Olympic athletes. So like, oh, well, there's been no women. You're the first. And so that was just like a aha moment, and didn't even think about it at the time. But now you look at it, it's carried me, and that little known fact has opened so many doors for me.
Awesome. Now, let's see. You go from swimming to now you're hosting Locked On ACC. Now, I will say this. You probably had some stops along the way, but if you would, can you take us along the roadmap of your career to Locked On ACC?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I'm going to try and keep it short and brief. So I swam, took a break after, I was in college, decided to be a 9-to-5 girl, realized 9-to-5 life is not all it's cracked up to be. decided that I was going to take my talents to grad school, train for Olympic trials, finish Olympic trials, had no identity outside of after 2016 because I was like, my life is swimming. What do I do beyond? So I just started doing radio stuff. I literally introduced myself to someone at a random networking event. Shout out to my girl Ema, who's had this event going. She was like, can you just run my social media for me? And I was like, sure. By the end of the night, I met a guy, started doing radio. 5 years later, a couple podcasts, a couple national shows, COVID, pandemic pivot. Later, I am doing Locked On. I started doing Locked On Heels, then I graduated, I guess you could say, to covering all of the schools. But it's been a journey for sure. I never knew I was going to be in broadcasting at all. Never knew podcasting world. I don't even think podcasting was a thing back when I was trying to figure out my life. So it's been one of those trial by error. We figured out what I don't want to do quick, right? You stay somewhere a year and you're like, not so much. Or a door closes on you and you don't even have an opportunity to grow somewhere. So it's been a lot of that. But I'm here and I'm happy to be a part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's probably been the best family, just from who's helped me. Shout out to Ross Jackson, host of Locked On Saints, has taken me under his wing. And, as a Black male in this industry, he's really just, helped me grow, put me in opportunities, and really just been that resource for me.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah.
You definitely had a mentor to help you along, and you actually found what you love doing.
Yeah.
Another thing that people from North Carolina love doing is beating Duke. So, I do have to talk about that rivalry now.
Sure.
I know it's got to be different once you attend the school, you go to one of the games, things like that. Can you just explain to somebody the intensity or the feeling with that rivalry?
Yeah, so I guess for a Midwest person, it's definitely like Michigan and Ohio State, right? It's your big time. You hate this school as soon as you pick your colors, right? As soon as your family tells you you're a Michigan fan, Ohio State fan, you know what that is, and you just hate by default. That's similar to Carolina and Duke, except for the fact that they're literally right down the street from each other. We have so many, intertwining things, whether it be hospitals or people taking classes across the way. It's all one blended family on any other time except game day. And so, of course, you have your football rivalry, which is cool. And that's more so NC State for us. But when it comes to wanting to beat Duke in every capacity, in field hockey, in soccer, in swimming, you want to beat Duke. And I think when it comes to basketball, you've just seen so many rich programs come throughout, so many dynamic player legends, right? And it's every year, it doesn't matter what the records are, that score is going to be close as hell, except maybe the first time we played this season, but that's another story for another day. It is always going to be a good game. You get popped in the mouth, whether it's a wake-up call or you just realize that this energy and infectious need to hate another school just by default just grows.
Got you. Now, you did say about football, you did talk about the rivalry between North Carolina and NC State. I did not know that was really a particular rivalry. It just tells you, hey, I'm in SEC country, so I kind of don't get to see many of the rivalries there in ACC. So you're enlightening me a lot.
Yeah, well, it's not the level of Auburn and Alabama, right? It's not the Iron Bowl, but it's definitely you play for pride. We don't necessarily have a trophy if you win that NC State Carolina game, but there is blood. I've never seen people so angry. I mean, we talk about you bringing out everything. You talking about your mama, you talking about your auntie. Like, they do not care during football season. And it's fun, right? Because it's during Thanksgiving. You got everybody who has rich tradition coming back home to celebrate and talk about this game going. And to see this year's matchup, golly, you want to talk about 30 seconds left in the game and then Emeka Emezi ruining it for all Carolina fans. It was just... it was a hard day, but we grow. The sun rises again.
Got you. Now, I did listen to your show this week, and I know you were especially chipper when you spoke to the guy from Locked On. Was it Locked On?
Blue Devils, JJ?
Blue Devils, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
JJ. It was nice to have a conversation, though, with somebody halfway sane, because I think what's really crappy sometimes about rivalries is people try to play the class game, and it gets a little dicey starting to err on the side of racist. I'm like, okay, maybe we all just be friends, like bring it back. It's just, a game. I think if you can have healthy fun with it and want to beat somebody, you put up 50, you get your money, go about our way. But then when you want to talk about who's honoring somebody, who's classy, who's not classy, it's just like, okay, Like, give me a break. Because I'm pretty sure if you were in 18, 19 and you were, 3 sheets to the wind off of some Grey Goose, you're probably not saying, go Duke, love you, Coach K. That's just the nature of the beast. And while I would never do it personally, everyone has their moral compass. And I'm not going to sit here and judge someone. And I'm also not going to tell anybody how they're supposed to honor somebody. I think it's weird.
Yeah, I hear you. Like how Chris Carrawell and
oh my God,
William Avery were trying to have, North Carolina were mad that North Carolina didn't honor Coach K. But that's another story for another day.
Did you even know who Carrawell was before that happened? Please tell me. Like,
I did. I know. I just know I'm a sports guy. But,
good on you. But I guarantee you, so many Carolina people were Googling who that joker was. They knew who Nola Smith was, but they always like, there's one other coach. Can't quite put my finger on it, but yeah.
Right. I just remember him from back. The guy that was always talked about him, man, he's so underrated. He's so this. I remember that being talked about him, and then he got to the end. And you quickly forgot who he was. But,
okay. I'll shade. Maybe you need the Carolina hat on.
Now, I will say this. Of course, this is touring the AFC South, so we are going to talk about a little bit of NFL, and I want to talk about one particular prospect. Okay. That is Sam Howell from North Carolina. Now, he had a great, he had a coming out year. Everybody talking about him, the offense, how great it was, and then this year happened, and kind of the wheels fell off the vehicle there, and he's kind of stumbling and bumbling a little bit, trying to kick it like Fred Flintstone, get it going, but it just didn't happen as much as he would like it to. Now he's into the NFL draft. I mean, what are your thoughts on him, and either how high or how low he could potentially go?
Yeah, great question. So I think what's hard is that he's coming behind Mitch Trubisky, who hasn't had the greatest career so far in the NFL and had all that trouble in Chicago. And now people are comparing because we don't have that many greats coming out of North Carolina like we used to. And so you're like, okay, let's compare. Not the same. To me, Sam is a totally different player. But more than that, I think Sam is the reason why Carolina was in half of the games that they were and won a lot of the games that they did this season. And Sam, to me, has a quiet leadership. He definitely struggles when it comes to decision making. I think sometimes he holds the ball too long. He needs to just let it fly, live to see another down or throw it away. But I, do know that from just watching pure eyes, man's got talent, has a cannon for an arm, and is super explosive when it comes to just using his legs when needed. And he's very intelligent. So I really just hope that he lands in the right system, maybe not necessarily where he's starting right away, but can be under somebody, get a good feel for, what the next level is like, and then thrive that way.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got through most of our questions, and now it is time for a game. Are you ready?
Oh, Lord. Okay. Who knows? You might not be ready. Is this a G-rated show? I just want to make sure,
It's a G-rated show.
Okay, good. Okay. Because last time I was on the show and I did really good. I was very, polite the whole time. And I'm just like, I just felt a spirit and anointing. And they're like, oh, yes, this is a Christian podcast. And I'm like, the Lord knew. The Lord knew for me to watch my mouth the entire time. So, I have to ask these days. I should have asked beforehand, but no, you're good. I'll be good.
All right. First question, Vince Carter or Jerry Stackhouse?
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
I came out swinging, right?
Vince Carter, from just like a me and my eyes, I love Vince Carter. Jerry Stackhouse, though, is from where my family's from. Shout out to the 2-5. Shout out to Kinston, North Carolina. That's where all the greats are from. The water is definitely different there, so that would be tough. I don't know. I think I would go with Vince Carter, but Jerry definitely has my heart.
Got you. Now I've got Simone Manuel or Marissa Mcclendon.
Oh, Marissa, that's my dog. Marissa is the first African-American female to ever medal at an Olympic Games. She is a silver medalist. She literally had every single record at one point in NCAA history, like from all freestyle. So from the 50 up into the mile, she was the fastest girl running. And she actually held an American and world record. And I always brag on her whenever I get to, because she never brags on herself, because that's just the kind of person she is. If there's ever a woman I want to emulate when I get older, by older, I mean maybe a couple more years, it's Marissa. So her all day. Not even gonna think twice.
All right, I'm gonna go Lawrence Taylor or Julius Pepper.
My gracious. Okay. Dang.
I did my
So
research.
I love LT. I think he is a legend. I didn't get the great fortune of watching him play, but Julius, and I didn't, necessarily, I wasn't in college when he was there either, but just from the legacy that he built and being more, aware, because I think I was probably in middle school or high school, he just phenomenal athlete. Played both sides, played football and basketball. And I love following him in his career when he went to the pros, when he was at the Panthers. He's just, he's amazing. And fun fact, he donated $50,000 to my, home church just because that's who he is. He'll never share that, but that's just the kind of guy he is. So Julius all the way.
All right, I've got a broadcasting one, or I'd say a media personality one.
Oh Lord.
Harry Champion or Jamel Hill?
Oh my gosh. Both. I picked both. I'm never gonna have to. Well, I did have to choose between two women. I think I would choose Carrie's spunk and Jamel's wit, because I think the way Carrie is just very much in your face, gonna tell you how it is, but Jamel comes to you with them slingers that you'd be like, ooh, my heart hurt. I gotta go back and research how to come back better, right? So both are very great.
All right. And a swimming question: backstroke or freestyle?
Backstroke. I was a backstroker. Sprint freestyle. I think about what I can do now. I can float on my back now. I can do a couple things, but that freestyle, when you do not use it, you lose it. So yeah, I would go with backstroke.
All right, and I'm going to throw in another question for you. I hope you're ready.
Oh God.
All right, we're going to go Christian Laettner.
Ooh.
Or Jay Williams.
Do I have to pick? No. Man, I think I would pick Christian Laettner. I think Jay, he gets on my damn nerves. I think even with his takes now, they just annoy me. I like Christian, rode up to the sunset. You're evil for the time you had to be evil. And I'm sure you're probably deep down a nice guy. But Jay he talked too much for me. Nah. Mm-mm.
All right. Now, for the last question, of course, we'll get a little more serious. Can you talk about or tell us a woman that inspired you, a Black woman that may have inspired you to kind of do what you do and be who you are and reach the heights that you've reached?
Oh, man. The thing is, it's so hard to pick one, right? Of course, I'm going to pick the one who birthed me, because my mom is incredible. A young woman from Kinston, North Carolina, who ended up going to Smith College at 16 and just running the town. She went to law school at Carolina and has made a life for herself that has afforded me so many opportunities. And she is such a momager, but in such a subtle way. She'll just drop nuggets and be like, maybe you should explore this. Or, she doesn't want to do it for you, but sometimes she will. She'll have a whole spreadsheet of ideas. If you just run with ideas, she will take your dream. Now, she is a dream realist. Some people are dream killers. She doesn't kill your dream, but she's like, let's bring it on home. Let's have these realistic SMART goals or anything like that. So she always tries to push you, but she never wants you to overextend yourself. So I think my mom is I rave about her all the time, because she does so much for everybody. And I think I get mad, every woman is going to get to that point. And if you have a good mama, you understand where you're like, dang, I'm becoming like her. And so you get a little irritated because you find yourself doing things that you're like, I would never do that. Or I can't wait to tell my mom how I'm not going to do this. And then you mess around and you do the exact dang thing, and you talk to people the same way and have the same mannerisms. So I'm learning to embrace just being a kind, smart, intelligent, badass woman from her. So it's her and many others. I wish I could go, a 30-minute rant about them, but I am so blessed to have so many good women in my life. And so, and male allies, I have a great daddy, all that good stuff. But, women is just different. It's just, we have to go through so much, especially as Black women. It's just so amazing to be in a room sometimes with people that, there was a struggle there. Ain't nobody getting nowhere, on clean red carpet with no kind of flaws. And so you just appreciate it differently.
You made me kind of want to sing that song by Tupac, Dear Mama. But
listen, Dear Mama, Hey Mama by Kanye, whatever you need, Mama, I love you from Boyz II Men, telling you what, it's different when you have a good one.
That is 100% true. Now, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for just all the great things you're doing, telling us your story, telling us, of course, swimming, which, a lot of Black people don't swim and we probably need to learn more. But, that's another story for another episode. But
yeah,
I just want to, of course, say keep doing great things. Definitely love what you're doing, and wanted to, of course, make this month about Black women, Women's History Month. And I appreciate you for coming on. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can, find you on social media, and what all things you have going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, thank you so much for this. I would love to come back. We could talk a little football. I'll make sure I'm ready to go. It doesn't have to be just about Carolina. So, you always have me as a guest if you need be. And, I think it's just, again, beautiful to celebrate Black women. You can find me at Locked on Heels or at Candace D. Cooper on Twitter. And you can subscribe to my YouTube show. Locked on ACC podcast is up to 30 minutes a day, every single day. So I am knocking on y'all's doors. Please leave 5 stars. All the reviews always help. So a simple retweet and a like goes so far for people like me.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. And everyone, you've been watching and listening to Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.